Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz saxophonist Richard Howell. We spoke in late December about his latest 2020 CD, Moon Over Tiburon. Over the years, he has been a secret weapon of the Bay Area music scene, an artist who's provided the creative glue holding together an extraordinary range of projects. He's got a great history. Get to know him and dig this interview.
Thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Well, hey, I really enjoyed your new album, and before I get in kind of to your artistic approach to this project, I want to ask, it's coming out during a rather crazy time on the planet with the pandemic. What are your thoughts on the timing of this and just kind of the overall of what's going on right now?
Well, I had intrepidation about releasing an album around this time, but I know that the industry shuts down. But everything this year has been different than any other year that I've ever experienced, and a lot of people as well. So I thought, you know what, I was so optimistic at the beginning of the year of releasing new material, and I just went and bit the bullet and said, you know what, I'm going to release during this time because the music that I think that I created has a purpose. You know, it's I call it bridge music. You know, it creates a pathway to us to bring each other together, and it's always uplifting the spirit. It is my intent, always lift, you know, the spirit. And as I always coin my music, it is inclusive rather than competitive. So I don't believe in music as competition. I always believe that it's something that is a spiritual endeavor. So I think this is the time that it should be out. This is the holiday season and the spirited season, and I think, you know, par for the course to continue to be in such a spirited and uplifting process for everyone.
Absolutely. What do you want the audience or the fan of you that gets this album, whether they buy it or download it, what do you want them to get from this experience, this artistic journey you're taking them on?
Me as an artist is genuine, honest, and always uplifting the spirit. That's what I'm about, just uplifting the spirit. I think, as I said, I want my music to be an act of haste into the soul. Like everyone who feels it feels my offering like a defibrillator that shocks the heart and saves a life and returns a life to free of isms like racism and sexism, classism, and, you know, always lifting the spirit. That's my theme throughout, always lifting the spirit.
So you're a pretty heavy musician there in the Bay Area. Talk to me a little bit about your journey to this point in your life, like where you were born and raised and how music, and more specifically jazz, became so alluring to you.
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood in Southern California, and my father was an avid Count Basie listener. We joke about it. It was almost like a prerequisite of growing up. You had to listen to Count Basie. And I recall, you know, mumbling under my voice about the old people's music. And when I saw Count Basie live, I cried like a baby because I got it. I understood what that was about. It was some just hard swinging music. So there was it developed a passion for me to always be around music in Southern California. So that started me on that path. And then my father, who loved the big bands, also heard this tune Equinox by John Coltrane. And he loved that song, and he listened to the rest of the album, and it didn't call him. He didn't hate it, but this is not his thing. He likes the big band and the harmonies. And he handed me the album Equinox. And at the time, we had to have permission to play the stereo. So he allowed me to play the stereo with the album Equinox, and I was floored. It changed my life. I mean, I listened to other players, but that kind of changed my life. Before Coltrane, there was, you know, Dexter Gordon and all the other cats that I listened to, but Coltrane changed my life, and I was sort of on the path of chasing train for quite some time. And then I'd explored other, you know, pop music and all that kind of stuff, but I always said that my roots is in the music of John Coltrane and the Isley Brothers and James Brown. So that's kind of where my whole thing is, you know, encompassing these people and everything around it. Of course, I love Stevie, Aretha, and all the other folks. But these are people that made an extreme impact on the way I play music.
What about mentors? Who really influenced the way that you approach music?
When I listen to music, I listen to all the great producers. I've always loved what Quincy Jones does, even as a jazz, his jazz stuff. What he did for Sinatra was amazing. What he did for Michael Jackson was amazing, and what he did on his own stuff was amazing. I got into the producers like Charles Stepney, Maurice White, and all the pop stuff. So I was a balance of pop and jazz. Of course, Creed Taylor for the Kudu records. I think it was Creed Taylor records. Was it Kudu? And then all the classic productions. Who was that? I'm speaking of. I can't think of Van Gelder. All those productions. So I got into the production aspect of it as well as the performance. So some of the great producers became one of my biggest influence, as opposed to and then there's, again, I always resort to Train. It's one of my biggest influence and one of my mentors.
Now that we've had this absence from live music, I know all of you are really, really missing, and as we are, as the audience. Do you have any special memories, live memories, that you hearken back to, things that you think about that are giving you fuel until you actually get back on the stage?
That's a great question. I miss the interaction with people. I miss being in front of a stage and lifting their spirits, because that's kind of how I perform. I kind of try to create some type of sonic baptism. I like to just wash people over with great sounds and be in the presence of great musicians that I love to play with. So I'm missing being around the people that I love to share this music with. That's the audience as well as my bandmates.
So with that in mind, when we do return to the stage and the audience, what do you hope we all collectively get from this time away? What do we realize? What do we keep with us? Silver linings.
I think the silver lining here is that a lot of people have been Zooming across the nation and across the world, and I know for myself, I've been on a couple of Zoom calls that I never thought and meeting some iconic figures that I never thought I would have an opportunity. I actually had a Zoom call where Sonny Rollins was on the line. I actually had a Zoom call with Lenny White and Buster Williams and Gary Bartz, and I don't think that I would have had an opportunity otherwise to be connected to these people. I had Randy Brecker talking about Moon Over Tiburon. Gary Bartz was talking about Moon Over Tiburon. Ron Carter was talking about Moon Over Tiburon in a Zoom call. I don't think that I would have had an opportunity to do that otherwise.
I've noticed that too. There's a lot of opportunities, I think, during this time, as we all are calling silver linings, that have been pretty spectacular about this moment in time. Why do you love jazz? What is it about jazz that makes you feel the way you do about the craft?
Interesting. And I'll share this about this particular album, Moon Over Tiburon. When I listen to that music, there's a couple of songs on the album, and I won't share which ones with you, and I'll let you make that choice yourself. But there's some music that makes me feel really good after listening to it, and it's consistent every single time. It makes me feel good. And that's what jazz music has done for me, listening to some stuff like when I would listen to Lee Morgan play some of his melodies, it would make me feel good. It would just make me want to cry. I would listen to stuff from Doug Carn, and it would make me want to cry. Certain things that would touch me in such a manner that other styles don't do. I mean, I am kind of a closet funkster. I like stuff. I like to get up. I like to groove. I like to dance. I do have pop sensibilities in my own productions. But jazz music, for some reason, really touches my heart. It really does touch my heart. And it's always lifting my spirits.
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one living your life. Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? What a great question.
Thank you.
Who do I think I am? It's almost like, how dare you to thank you? No, I'm just kidding. Who do you think? Who do I think I am? I'd like to think that I'm a compassionate human being and that I'm a giving, nurturing human being. And I like to think that I'm on a path of always trying to improve myself as a human being as well as a musician. I try to be gracious. I try to be kind. I do my utmost to be very loving, and I do my utmost to be inclusive to everyone. And I share this music with that in mind, to be inclusive to everyone.
Beautiful. That's a great answer. That's a great way to wrap everything up. Thank you very much for taking some time today. It's such a great story, wonderful album. I appreciate it. Good luck with it, and stay safe out there.
Thank you very much, and you do the same. Please stay safe. And I appreciate you taking the time and reaching out to me to be able to do something like this.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview. We give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in San Francisco, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Richard for his time and cool. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.